YouTube, what's happening? Back at you with another video. I got my main man here.
The Prince of Fresh Air. Thank you for having me again.
Cool. How do I start this? So I'm just going to go ahead and read the article, and then I'm pretty much going to give my thoughts on the article and what I pretty much just got through seeing. So just the other day, just recently, we have Black Panther director Ryan Coogler getting arrested at a Bank of America for pretty much attempting to make a withdrawal from his account. The teller received an alert on his account, according to the police report obtained by CNN. Because the amount was more than $10,000, the teller notified her superior that she thought Coogler was trying to rob the bank, and 911 was called. Coogler had written a note on the back of the withdrawal slip stating that he wanted the money to be counted discreetly, given the amount, according to the report. When police arrived, two of Coogler's colleagues who were waiting for him in a parked vehicle outside the bank were detained and placed in the back of a police car. Coogler was placed in handcuffs while police investigated the call. He was released shortly after they verified his identity. The police report states, the situation should never have happened. However, Bank of America worked with me and addressed it to my satisfaction, and we have moved on, Coogler said in a statement to Variety. And then Bank of America says, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. It should never have happened, and we have apologized to Mr. Coogler. I don't accept that apology. So basically, I saw the footage for this a couple of days ago. I think about a day and a half ago. I saw really short, minute-long Twitter snippets. And actually, just before this video, I decided to watch the whole entire ordeal, which is about a 10 or so minute video. And frankly, I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you. This video in particular is really to Black people who believe that we are living in a post-racial society, because we are not. Things are just as they were 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago and onward, except, we're just integrated into their society and things are a little bit more covert than they were back in the day. This man was looking to withdraw $12,000 from his checking account. And before he knew it, he had a police officer behind him, pretty much already drawing his gun from his waist. That's scary. That is scary. You have a regular guy just attempting to conduct a monetary transaction from his own account. Now, mind you, the stupid part about this is that Ryan Coogler PIN validated, which means he identified himself. He authenticated his identity with his PIN, also with his driver's license or some form of primary ID. And she still got her quote unquote superior and then notified the authorities. Now, to give people some context, I've worked at a bank. Okay, so I know what the procedure is. All right. The only reason why okay, so here's the rationale, and I'll play devil's advocate slightly, only for a split second. In banking, some robbers tend to, they might write a note, okay? Because what Ryan Coogler did was he wrote a note saying, I'd like to withdraw $12,000 from my checking account. Please count it in the back or somewhere else out of, public view. Some robbers, they will just say on notes, it will not be written like that. A robber will just say, give me all the money that you have in the drawer. That's what a robber is going to say. And then the procedure is just give them the money, right? A robber is not going to identify himself and then proceed to rob the bank. And then this is how incompetent law enforcement is. And I'm not going to say all, but let's say 98% of law enforcement, because I ain't seen a legitimate cop yet. All right, I have not seen a sane cop yet. These guys are trying to tell, a law-abiding citizen, a genuine citizen that, well, as a matter of fact, they don't look at him like that because he's a Black man, but they're trying to tell him, well, look, this is why we do the gun on you. Come on, man. Really, bro? Really? Like, oh, well, you have to understand our side. Oh, when we get the call. Well, first of all, as a police officer, you get the call. Cool. You show up and then you assess the situation. This is an ongoing problem when it comes to police officers in this fucking country. These guys, it's like they show up, they shoot first and then they ask questions later, because clearly if Ryan Coogler made one wrong move, it would have been a wrap. It would have been a wrap. That man would be gone. Either he would have been in the hospital or he would be gone. Thank God he was, cognizant enough in the situation, just be like, okay, you guys got it. You guys got it. Because he was already like, yo, I was trying to take, some money out. And then the only reason why I wrote it on the note was for my safety, because I don't want the whole bank. First of all, he live in Atlanta. Okay. Things go on every day in Atlanta already. Okay. He's like, yo, I don't want everybody knowing that I'm taking $12,000 out of my account. And then yet a minute after that, I got a cop behind me about to draw a gun on me to shoot me. And I didn't even do anything. Like, he posed no physical threat whatsoever. And then mind you, the cop that drew his gun was a black cop on top of that. That's the sick part about it. People, black people, wake up. We're not living in a post-racial society. We're not. I did a podcast recently about, let's say like a month and a half ago, with, 3 black guests on my podcast. And I was trying to explain to these girls that we as black people in the United States of America today in 2022, we are systematically under attack in this country. We are. Like, that's just a fact. Because that would not have happened to an Asian person. That would not have happened to a white person. It probably wouldn't have happened to an Hispanic person. It wouldn't have happened to a Middle Eastern person. But because black people, you ready? Black people in this country are still considered 2/3 a citizen. We are not considered full citizens. So meaning in this country, we don't have any protection, any real protection, at all. The only reason why these cops, because Ryan Coogler at some point, he was telling the cops, give me your badge numbers, give me your information, because I got to make some phone calls because this is not right. Once they realized who he was, I don't even think it really registered to these people who he actually was, because I'm pretty sure these guys got kids. These guys took their kids to go see his movie or his movies, and then they were about to kill him. So it's like, how could a cop explain to his kids, oh, I helped kill your favorite director today. Oh, son, you like Black Panther? Oh, well, he's dead, and I helped shoot him, or I helped facilitate his murder, because that's what almost could have happened to this man. And right. I'm just really at this point where I'm just sick and tired of motherfuckers thinking that shit is just all hunky dory in this country just because you can use the same bathrooms, you can drink the same water, and you may have similar opportunities. But when push comes to shove, in the face of boys in blue, you're a target. You're literally a target. The littlest thing that you do, you're gone. They can wipe me from the face of the universe. And then, like, because I can only imagine what it would have been like for let's say somebody who was not Ryan Coogler. You know what I'm saying? Because these things happen to people every single day. The only reason why we're talking about this, obviously, is because it's Ryan Coogler. And then if something did have happened to him, and this is my thing real quick, it shouldn't take something happening to a famous person to facilitate more awareness or some sort of change. And my thing is, we all know that cops are fucked up towards black people in this country. What would it take? One of the prominent black directors of our time almost got shot. It's like something should have been in place to protect him other than like a simple body cam. You know what I'm saying? When are we going to get, the national black alert? I've been saying this for damn near 2.5 years now. That will protect black people in situations like this when it comes to law enforcement, because these people are there to serve and protect, right? There was a misunderstanding, but yet they weren't protecting him. These are supposedly public servants, but yet they out here running around like gangs. Like Tupac said it best. He was like, yo, the biggest gang in America is the police. It's not the Bloods, it's not the Crips, it's police. So what's your thoughts on that, bro?
Ooh, this is man, not because I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. It's a tricky one, and I only say that because as I'm reading everything about it, how it transpired, I think there was a lot of miscommunication and just a lot of mistakes made throughout the whole thing. I think the only problem was the note. And the fact that because most people, when they do bank robberies, they slip the piece of paper. Mm-hmm. So even though he was probably trying to be discreet because he is famous, We also live in a time now where people are using a face mask to commit crimes all over the place. So for this bank teller, what I've read was that after he gave her the note, she got a alert from his account, which triggered her to call the police
That's
prematurely.
bullshit. That's bullshit. Now, I'm sorry, but allow me to interject, okay? Because I have bank experience, right?
Right.
He was looking to withdraw, a large amount of money. Anything over 10,000, qualifies as a larger amount of money than most people typically withdraw, right? The
Right.
note is one thing, but what immediately negates the note is the fact that he had identification. He was able to pin validate and he had primary ID. The man, Ryan Coogler, had his ID hanging on his waist. So that in and itself should have eliminated all concerns. And in fact, if she was even that more concerned, she could have asked him some security questions. Oh, Mr. Coogler, can you verify the last 4 numbers of your social security, please? Can you verify your email address that we have on file? Can you verify your address? There are certain things in place before you jump to the extreme.
I agree.
Like, because the only thing that she should have called her quote unquote superior for is to get the money, to help get the money, because she can't get that by herself. I don't know how Bank of America does it over there, but $12,000, she probably just didn't have that by herself. So they had to go up in the vaults to go and get that. So meaning this teller, the only excuse for this level of insubordination, stupidity, and racism, because I'm pretty sure racism probably makes up at least a good 55 to 65% of why this happened, because he was black. I bet you if he was a white guy, it would have been no problem. That's a fact. Yeah. So there really is no excuse. The keystone in this situation is the fact that the man had ID. Robbers ain't gonna come up in there and be like, yeah, I got my driver's license and I got ID, and I got a pin that matches all the information. Because when a customer puts in their debit card, all the information pops up. So if you have any concerns, this is what you know what I'm saying, you could do. There are certain things in place. That's embarrassing. It's like if I was the CEO of Bank of America, I'd be embarrassed. I mean, I would attempt to apologize, but it's just like, yo, there's really nothing you can do in that situation but look stupid.
Right. Yeah. It's this situation is unfortunate because I think this is just a guy trying to withdraw money, be discreet about his presence, because Atlanta, as we all know, is not the safest area in the country. And I think the bank teller, she jumped, or what I think it was a she just jumped to conclusions pretty early on. And I think that's the problem, is that she decided to call the police before doing any further verification steps to make sure that this situation was going to happen smoothly. It's tough though. You know why? Because if you work in an area where it's known gun violence, and yeah, he present ID. I'm just saying from her perspective. He gives you a note. You count the money elsewhere. I want to be discreet. I want 12,000. He has on shades, a hat.
He look like a regular dude. I seen his outfit.
Regular dude. But for a lot of people, white people, that's the thug look. That's the
well, you know what that's called?
Criminal.
You know what that's called? Racism. That's called unconscious bias.
Okay, absolutely.
That's having an unconscious bias towards a select group of people, and people like that should not be hired at Bank of America. These people should not, be in these positions where you're handling somebody else's money. Like that's because honestly, like there's nothing that could be said on her behalf to make anything make sense. Because in my opinion, that's just being racist. She was just being racist because it had nothing to do with the note. It had nothing to do with 12,000. Like because Floyd Mayweather can go to the bank and withdraw. Like there are videos you can go on YouTube of Floyd Mayweather walking out of the bank with like $2 million or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And then he don't have no problem. And then yet you have Ryan Coogler who's just like, yo, like I'm not trying to say that out loud. In fact, I've had a customer say that to me once, because she actually wrote that on a note too, and she was like, yeah, I don't think it was 12,000. I think it might have been like 7 or 8, but she wasn't like, like posing any sort of threat to me for giving me a note or being discreet about the money that she was getting, because this is a woman on top of that. So she's like, yo, I don't know who could be listening, because you could have one guy, waiting for an appointment to discuss, monetary options or financial options and stuff. And then he overhears a woman saying, oh, I want to get 12,000. He's like, you know what? Fuck the meeting. I'm going to hit a lick. You never know. In 2022, you never know. In New York City, these things can happen. In Atlanta, these things can happen. In other various neighborhoods and communities that, shit pops off every day, these things can happen. I've heard people are like breaking windows in Atlanta and then like stealing whatever's in the car, whatever was in view. So it's like, I don't blame Ryan Coogler at all for, doing whatever. I probably do that too. If I had to withdraw, 12,000, I'm like, yo, I don't want the whole world knowing that, because you don't know who's listening. That's being smart. That's street smart.
Oh no! Oh yeah, I know. And the reason why I say I don't disagree with you, because I do think in this situation there was a level of bias and racism going on because he was a black man. But I think one of the things you said was important was the fact that it's happening where people, especially with this no bail thing, especially in the city, people getting to commit crimes at an all-time rate and then getting out of jail within 2 hours. So I'm just saying, like, I don't think she was trying to set him up to get killed or anything like that. I think she freaked out.
Yes, she was. I called the cops. Let me tell you something right now. Calling the cops on a black man in 2022,
I know you
literally is like death sentence, dog. Literally,
no, you're right.
That's like lethal intent. That's why some people, they go to jail for that, because it's like, yo, you're putting somebody in danger. Somebody is calling the cops on me. That person does not have my best interest, period. And they don't care what happens to me, especially right now in this climate, because police officers and law enforcement have gotten away with the wildest shit since pretty much 2010, 2011. All right. And then nothing has been done. A black man was choked on the sidewalk in the city for selling cigarettes. And then that guy probably still got a job right now, probably still riding the streets. That cop, he could have just shot Ryan Coogler and then like they'll put him on paid administrative leave. It would have just been a whole big brouhaha until the next thing happens. We are so numb and desensitized to it. And the reason why is because like we are so lulled to sleep by like the luxuries of just being integrated into their society, like entertainment. You have your 9 to 5, your family, your friends. So it's like when these things happen, people talk about it for a certain extent, but then people stop talking about it. People need to really get on board with this forcing legislation to be enacted on our behalf. If it would never happen, but let's say, God forbid, I went and I was stupid enough to go and shoot a police officer, right? Mm-hmm. And then I left the scene. The National Blue Alert pretty much expedites all the information exchange with the authorities involved to accelerate the process of me being apprehended and tried and killed, whatever. They have that in place. We are the ones that are always at risk in terms of, any situation involving police. Why don't we have that yet? And you know what's funny? The guy who passed that was a black friggin' was the quote unquote black president that we had. He was the one that passed that bill to protect police officers. Why they need protection when they got all the guns, they got all the bulletproof vests, they got the infrastructure, they got the body cams, but yet, us in these situations, we're practically helpless unless you running around with a gun. And even then, if you have a gun, there's 2 other police officers that'll pop you if you pop their ball. So this is what black people need to start talking about right now, because there needs to be things in place where it's like, you know what, if it's you versus them, at least there's some sort of like legal, legal legislation in place that will at least hold these guys accountable for what they're doing. Because it's like he has to do it himself. He's like, yo, give me your names, give me this, give me this, give me that, so I could try to do it myself. No, these things should have been in place already, because in my opinion, what happened to Ryan Coogler was abuse of power, straight abuse of power. Yeah. And then there should have been no, oh, well, here's our side, blah, 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 blah. And what's worse, Ryan Coogler had who I believe to be like some sort of like a nanny for, I guess, his newborn. I guess he must have just recently had a newborn. So it was a Filipino woman, actually. And she was with him. They detained her too. He was like, so he's in cuffs. He's in the back of the car. And he's like, so did you guys detain her too? And they're like, yes, sir, we did. It's like, for fucking what? For being there? Like, yo, Come on,
Nah,
man.
but
Come on.
but
Black people, wake up.
it's and that's what I mean. That's why I said it's a tricky situation because I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I just say like the way how like because I saw a snippet of the video. I think he is famous to black people, but the typical or average white person don't know who Ryan Coogler is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could be Bobby Boogaloo, Joe Smo from down the street. It should not matter who you are because at the end of the day, you're black. And I'm quoting you. It's like, yo, when cop, you said it. You were like, yo, when you get pulled over by a cop and when you're in front of a cop, you're a black man, you black. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Not everybody is Will Smith. Not everybody is Michael Jordan, where when they get pulled over, instead of getting a ticket, they're just gonna ask for an autograph and then send them on their way. You see what I'm saying? So that's the point. Black people need actual legislation passed in place for our protection in these situations because they happen every single day.
You're right.
Freaking Asian people got that shit. Okay? They got that shit in record time. Okay, and then everybody else, they don't need it. Why? Because they're considered full citizens. We're the only ones that aren't. That's why it's taking so long. Black people have been getting lynched for hundreds of years, yet they passed a law making lynching a hate crime last fucking week. Stop playing with me, yo. Like, yo, black people, wake up. Black people, wake the fuck up. Literally, enemy fucking territory right now. Yeah, we're integrated in society. You have the opportunities to do certain things for yourself, but at the end of the day, all of that could be stripped away from you in front of law enforcement, and something needs to be done about that shit. If you guys are not freaking caping for that shit, like you cape for other fucking things, then accept it, and then don't get outraged at these things. Don't be surprised when these things happen. Don't be surprised when your favorite entertainer, public figure, or whomever, or somebody that you love, God forbid, gets popped. Like, literally, no more hashtag BLM. No. We ain't with that. Hashtag we need black legislation right now.
Now you know what, you're right, man. It's
I've been right.
This happened to me last week. So when I was at work, some dude in front of 7-Eleven, which is like right across from the entrance, pulled out a gun. Some black dude with a Raiders jacket. So the police come, and I'm at work. I'm at the front desk, but I seen it. So I'm waiting. They come in. I'm standing outside talking to the guy who witnessed it too, and so they talking to me. And subconsciously, I'm like, let me keep my hand in my pocket. But then I went to go grab my phone, and I could see the officer looking down at me, and he looked at his partner, and I saw him starting to reach for the gun. I'm like, oh crap!
Wow,
this could turn violent any moment. So I definitely agree with you, man. It's a lot of racism, a lot of prejudice against black people, and I think black people need to stop thinking that, oh, because I never had a bad run-in with the law. Because I used to say the same thing. Oh, I've always had good interaction. But then that last week, I probably could have been popped. And you know what I'm saying? You never know with police, especially as black people, you never know when your time is going to happen. So I think people need to stop being
lulled to sleep.
I'm sure Ryan Coogler didn't go into that office and then think, two officers will have the guns drawn at him.
No, who thinks that? Especially when all you're trying to do is withdraw money. Like, what is that?
Yeah, it's like you said, man. And this is why I was openly critical about the whole George Floyd protests, is because people out here talking about police brutality, but it died down after a couple months. You don't really hear Black Lives Matter anymore. You don't hear them talking about it.
Let me tell you why. Now, for those who are listening, I created a short film which is an amalgamation of all the Malcolm X speeches and interviews that I could find, and I weaved it all together in the form of an interview between Malcolm X and myself. And basically, the crazy thing about it is that you would think Malcolm X was still alive today, the way that he was talking. And mind you, these interviews are from between 61, and 1962-3. Okay, just right before he passed away. And this is the thing. We are second-class citizens in a white man's country. What Malcolm X said, and I'm quoting him and I'm paraphrasing him because I don't remember the exact quote, but the answer to his question was that there are already enough laws in the law books. Okay, you white people don't need any more laws passed for them because there are so many laws right now that are in place to protect them. You only need more laws for people who are not considered citizens. This is like, we here, but this is not home. We here, but this is not our country. This is why you have all these protests and things like that to try to lobby for these things. But to the people that are running shit, to the powers that be, they're like, they're second-class citizens. We really don't have to do shit for them. So we not only do we not like you, but you're asking us to do some shit. And in order for us to do it, we would have to like you. And we don't like you, so we're not doing shit. We're not doing shit. Like, people got to get privy to like how shit's always been. That's the only reason why these domestic freaking goddamn attacks against us have been happening for decades, for hundreds of years. Why? Because we have not been considered real fucking citizens. Okay, we got integrated into society that we weren't wanted in. Okay, you know what I'm saying? For things to still continue happening over and over and over again, people want to know why. It's because, yo, your segregation ended, but that didn't change anything else. That was it. That was the only thing that was removed. Slavery and fucking segregation. Outside of that, politically, everything is still the same. Everything is still the same. And then we don't have, you know, a sovereign country looking out for us, like, let's say, Asian people do. Because if let's say Chinese people were going through it like we were, China gonna look at US like, okay, so we conduct business together, we conduct trade, all this other types of stuff, and we are a major source of business for you. But yet we have citizens in your country and they're getting shot and killed whatsoever. So we're gonna pull the plug on you guys. America don't want that. So that's why America's like, okay, we don't want to look bad to their sovereign country. So you know what? We're gonna pass certain things to protect them. Africa is not one united freaking country. No, Africa got like 15 different countries, 15 different governments that can barely stand on their own 2 feet. So of course they can do whatever they want to do to us, because who do they answer to? Who do they really conduct trade with on a grand scale? Nobody. Nobody. So yeah. get privy. Like, there's nothing wrong with being entertained and this and that, but you really got to look at what's going on and think about, all right, we know what the problem is. Now, what's something that we can actually do to make change? But here's the thing. See, you know, what did I used to call her? You know, basically Miss Harris, you know, I'm not even going to call her by her first name. Miss Harris, we did it, Joe. She said it best. She said, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to pass stuff for Black people. No, that's what she said. And I'm going to put the clip right here.
Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
She said that they have absolutely no intention of doing anything specifically for Black people. So it's like, literally. And the worst part about it is that, like, unless Black people were really to like collectively come together and like pull the plug on, like, let's say, all the things that we buy and a lot of shit that we do and keep it in-house and gatekeep our shit, that's really the only way that like we could like influence some sort of change, if we all came together. But we all know that Black people don't like each other more than white people don't like us. But that's, you know, a topic for another video before I go on. But that's my time on that.
No, you're right. No, you absolutely right. And it's like, you know, that's all I say. It's like, we, like me and you talking about all the time. It's only so much we can talk about wine, because every time we turn around, nobody else is talking about it. And there's a YouTuber, Hassan Campbell, he talks about all this stuff all the time. And like, people clown him and make jokes and stuff like that. But it's true. We kill each other. We don't look at each other as brothers and sisters.
No.
You know, we look down on each other. We don't help each other. And like, now I see that at all-time high, especially with interracial relationships. You know, at my job, I see it all the time. Like, a black girl comes in with a white guy or whatever the case may be, and they act like they don't see you. I'm like, why? Because you with this dude? Like, is this what we're doing now? Just because you with, you know, somebody?
Well, no, don't go there. Because I remember the last podcast, your ass was like, freaking love is love, and people can be with who they want to be with. So I don't want to hear that.
No. I
don't want to hear that.
But this is a difference. Like in the Jubilee video I did recently, I said, if you stand on your principles, it won't change who you date. Why? Because no matter who I date, I'm always going to be outspoken. I'm always going to be vocal. I will never change. Like I'm dating a white girl right now, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that I still believe that Black people don't help each other. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we as Black people need to actually do more opposed to just waiting to the next big media frenzy where George Floyd gets killed. You know, we protest, 3-4 months.
Well,
and
I
then,
just told you. So I just told you why things are not happening on a grand scale, and it's bigger than any conversation that you and I can have, because this is a microcosm conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Change needs to happen macrocosm, and it is not, because there's so much that separates us and not nearly enough that brings us together as a people. And I will end it on that. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my Questions for Malcolm X video if you do get a chance and you do have the time. And with that said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.